Welcome everyone. In this program, we are going to implement the Conway's Game of Life. It is a cellular automation devised by British mathematician John Cotton Conway in 1970s. And this game consists of a two-dimensional grid, something like this. And for this program, we will assume that this grid is a two-dimensional grid of Boolean variables. And if a variable is true, that means that particular cell is living. If it is false, that means it is non-living. And every cell is surrounded by its 8 neighbors, horizontally, vertically, or even diagonally adjacent. These are 8 neighbors of this particular cell. And in this game of life, to go from one generation to other generation, we apply the following 4 rules. That if any live cell with fewer than 2 live neighbors dies as if caused by underpopulation. So the first rule is that any live cell, these black cells, any live cell with fewer than 2 live neighbors dies as if caused by underpopulation. So here are no live cell which have fewer than 2 live neighbors, but let us go on to the second rule. Any live cell with 2 or 3 live neighbors lives on to the next generation. Like you can see this. In its 8 adjacent blocks, it has only 2 live other cells, so it can go to the next generation. You can see it went through the next generation. And the third rule is that any live cell with more than 3 live neighbors dies as if by overpopulation. And it is the case of all these 4 cells. This cell has 4 adjacent live cells also, so it died in the next generation. And any dead cell, all these white cells with exactly 3 live neighbors will become a live cell as if by reproduction. And so you can see for this cell, it had 3 live neighbors, it became a live cell. And that is what we are going to implement. Our program will consist of the constructor and the get initial live cells. We don't have to worry about these. We have to make the fill grid with live cells method, which will be called by the instructor upon the initialization of the class. And we have to fill the grid with live cells as stored by the get initial live cells. The grid is here, and it is its length. I have taken a square grid. And also we have make a method called get live cells around, and A and B will be the particular coordinates of the cell in the grid, and the next gen method. This next gen or the next generation method is going to take the grid from this to this. And if you are wondering, let us see how the game of life actually works. As you can see, here are some of the cells. Here are some of the cells, which these purple dots, I think they represent the live cells. And now this is the next generation. According to the 4 rules, when the 4 rules are applied, the next generation comes, and this is the next, and the next, and so forth. And when we do the same thing in really high speed, then looks, it becomes very beautiful. All these sorts of patterns are emerging only from those 4 basic rules. And you can see the green ones are the cells which are now dead but were once alive. White ones are the always dead cell, but we don't have to worry about all this in our program. And this is the game of life. Like if we take initialize the grid with a number of live cells, and then we cause the next gen to run very fast, we get all these beautiful patterns. And this website, that is pmath.eu/javascript-game of life version 3.101, it has many of patterns like this Gosper glider gun. You can look when we run it, it is like a gun shooting, and it is really beautiful, you must admit that. And this is what we are going to implement. Actually, some of the methods you won't be able to really like run it. It is just for APCS practice. So see you in the next video.